Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents and officers soon may be equipped with gloves that deliver electric shocks. ICE is planning to spend up to $20 million to buy them. The manufacturer says that they are intended to de-escalate encounters. CNN's Brian Todd is here in the Situation Room. Brian, tell us more about these gloves.
Yeah, no potential for controversy here, right, yeah. Pamela? As Pamela mentioned, ICE is planning to spend $10 to $20 million for purchasing these gloves. It is called, quote, the CTG5 glove, and glove is an acronym. You see gloves that are very similar to the ones that they're going to be used. Those are from the company's website. GLOVE stands for Generated Low Output Voltage Emitter. The manufacturer, Compliant Technology, says these gloves are designed to de-escalate encounters with people. They can deliver a maximum voltage of up to 380 volts at a time. According to the manufacturer, that would, quote, inhibit and distract the subject from performing coordinated muscle movement, end quote. Now, according to the user's manual, no more than 2 of these gloves should be applied to a person at one time. They should not be used for more than 15 seconds at a time. Company officials and distributors say they can end a struggle in 3 seconds or less. There is video that we've had that we can show you here. This is the company president actually demonstrating this on a subject. And look, he does take him down there in about 3 seconds or less. And the gentleman there on the ground is a little bit shocked, but he is able to get up. One of the things, a couple of things that you have to know about these things, they do not go through hair or clothing. They have to be applied directly to the skin. So that's one of the possible restrictions there of this thing. And the company is warning that they should not be used on high-risk individuals like pregnant women, elderly people, small children, and severely disabled people. They should not be used for more than 15 seconds. Yes.
I mean, how in a moment, how would an ICE agent know if someone had a disability or if a woman was in her first trimester of pregnancy
you don't know
whatever the case may be?
That's why this could really be controversial. And I was also thinking about the Alex Preddy death in January. That's in January in Minnesota, right? He's wearing a lot of clothing. They're wearing a lot of clothing. It wouldn't have necessarily been a factor in that situation. So yes, you don't know if a lady is in her first trimester if you're using this thing. Yeah. You don't necessarily you can't necessarily see someone's disability almost immediately if you're using this thing in some cases. So yeah, it is really it really does have the potential for being controversial. It's not clear how many gloves are going to be purchased, how much each glove costs, or when officers are going to start to use them. But ICE officers probably will be using these things before too long. And as we mentioned, $10 to $20 million it's going to cost them. As Pamela and I have been talking about, it is controversial. 2 groups, the National Immigration Law Center and the American Civil Liberties Union, have come out expressing criticism of the plan to use these gloves. Here's a quote from the National Immigration Law Center, quote, "This is a rogue agency with an $80 billion slush fund that allows them to concoct and fund new ways to visit cruelty upon our communities. That group calls this disgusting and barbaric." But there is a gentleman who monitors the use of these types of devices, John Peters from the Institute for the Prevention of In-Custody Deaths, who said possibly this thing could be an effective tool if an officer is getting resistance, Pamela. We should say that the Department of Homeland Security and the manufacturer Compliant Technologies LLC has not responded immediately to our request for further comment on how these would be used. But you can see clearly there is potential for misuse here. There's a potential for accidents. There have already been prosecutions for the use of these things in South Carolina a couple of years ago, their use on inmates. So again, it's already controversial. But again, could it possibly de-escalate a situation where an ICE officer or a border protection officer isn't killing someone and instead uses this? Maybe, but again, very controversial.
Compliant Technologies makes the gloves, and in 2024, a distributor said the way the technology is used isn't capable of causing injury, adding, quote, "We usually get compliance within 3 seconds." This news comes as ICE agents are facing scrutiny over what critics are calling aggressive and dangerous tactics, and as the Trump administration is pushing for a quota to make 2,000 arrests per day. DHS did not immediately respond to CNN's request for comment on this story. Joining me now, CNN senior national security analyst Juliette Kayyem. I mean, the first and obvious question is, what do you think about having this as another tool? Obviously, we have seen, police officers around the country using tasers. There have been some issues with those. But what do you think about these gloves and the possibility that ICE will be using these during detentions?
Well, the gloves, in theory, and GLOVE is for generated low output voltage emitter, so it's glove. The gloves generically are a tool. So, like you put them on. There's sort of an on-off switch. So if you touch someone, they may not feel it. When you turn it on, they're going to get a voltage that's described as sort of an intense bee sting. They're not supposed to do it for longer than 15 seconds. So this may be helpful, and I will say that the devices have mostly been used, at least from the public record. The company is not speaking now, at least from the public record, in confined situations, a jail. That may make sense because there's really no freedom of movement. Go forward to ICE and where we are now. This is asking for intense trouble for the American public. ICE is not known for de-escalation. Right. The rules of engagement for ICE are not understood. And with this mandate from the White House of 2,000 arrests a day, you are now have sort of issued ICE to sort of go around, touch people, and zap them and say that they're not compliant. We know ICE. I'm going to be direct here. We know ICE lies. They've been shown to lie.
They have.
And so this could be a real danger for the American public.
They have been shown to lie in court. And so, judges have made those, made that very plain and clear. I do want to ask you about, because we've talked about this before, but it with this extra tool, when you consider the idea that there is a quota, most departments have gotten rid of these, right? I mean, this was a whole big thing with law enforcement many, many decades ago. And now that it's back for ICE and ICE only, generally speaking, what does this do to law enforcement agents when they have this thing sitting over their head that, we need to get 2,000 per day?
And they have billions and billions of dollars authorized to do so. So it's the combination of the mandate with the resources that has become the sort of scary aspect of ICE for most of the American public. Sarah, I'm so glad that you raised this. People often ask me, like, how do you reform ICE? We have to abolish it. Look, and America needs an enforcement agency, and one that's interior enforcement agency. We have unlawful immigrants in the country. The White House promised that they would go after the worst of the worst. That is so clearly not true anymore. If you ask me what is the one thing that needs to be done to reform ICE, to make it an effective and lawful law enforcement agency that has a mandate that is legitimate, it would be this quota. This quota is a political quota. It is not an operational quota. It's coming from Stephen Miller and Donald Trump and says 2,000. We need 2,000. Well, what that means is that senior managers are then pushing that down to the operational level. And then that means that these guys and women who have been onboarded with less training, less support, fewer rules of engagement are now deployed to satisfy a number. So giving them a new tool is dangerous with this mandate.
Juliette Kayyem, it is always a pleasure to talk through these issues with you. They are big issues and they're not going away. So we will be talking a lot more about this in the coming days. Thank you so much.